Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get started here in another minute. Just allow everyone to get settled and then we'll get started.
Is it on the third? Oh.
Okay, so while everyone is getting settled, first off, thank you so much for being here. We know you're gearing up for the holiday weekend, so we so appreciate you taking the time to join us today. We have a fantastic session featuring a lot of really great panelists and speakers today. But to start, my name is Liz. I'm our Senior Enrollment Advisor, specifically for our Master of Arts in Music Industry program. So if you are an applicant or inquiry, you may have seen my name, but again, thrilled to be here with you today. First off, I do want to cover a few housekeeping things before we introduce our panelists. There we go. So first off, we definitely want to be courteous to your time. We know it's very valuable. This session is going to be about an hour just so that we can cover all the really great information from both our faculty as well as our panelists that have joined us today. If for any reason you need to head out early, we know life is totally unpredictable. Don't worry, you are going to get a recording of this session so that you can go back, catch up on anything that you might have missed, as well as just go back and refresh on some of the things that you really wanted to focus on to help you determine if this is going to be the best program for you. But if for any reason you have specific questions and you want to connect with an enrollment advisor like myself, you're always welcome to reach out to us. There is our phone number as well as the address that you can chat us. That way we can get you connected with a specific enrollment advisor and be able to help you navigate through that application, what items you'll need to move forward and be able to join this amazing group as part of the program. With that being said, I do want to introduce you to Rachel Hanusa. She is our program director for our Frost School of Music online program. So Rachel, thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to turn it over to you if you don't mind just introducing yourself along with our other panelists, and then we can dive into the Q&A portion.
All right, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel, the director of Frost Online with the Frost School of Music. We're so excited to be talking with you today. I'm going to be talking with a couple of our faculty in the program who are both deans in the Frost School. We have Associate Dean Ray Sanchez, who's also the chair for the Music, Media, and Industry Department, and he teaches classes within our degree program. And then we have Professor Serona Elton, who is Associate Dean of Administration for the Frost School, and she's the director that oversees the music industry program. So you'll have a lot of contact with her. And we have 4 alums that are with us today. Miguel Tomas, who is music business faculty at Universidad Peruana de Ciencias Aplicadas. And Vincent Johnson, he is author and musician and CEO of Wordsworth Productions. Gerald Washington, who I'd also like to say is one of our first graduates from the program. He is a freelancer, mixing, mastering audio engineer, and Andrea Jennings, who's founder of Shifting Creative Paradigms, Entertainment and Productions, chair of the Accessibility and Disability Commission of City of Pasadena, and co-founder of Recording Artists and Music Professionals with Disabilities. So thank you all for being here today. As this is going to be our panel, and I'm going to ask everyone a number of questions so we can hear more about this program, their experiences, and how our faculty interact with our students in the program. So I would like to start out with the faculty, asking questions to them. So I'm going to start with Serona. Can you tell us a bit about your role within the University of Miami and how you interact with our online students in the program?
Sure, my pleasure. Are you going to stay in screen share, or do you want to come out of screen share? Just wasn't sure if you guys knew you were still sharing the screen. So very happy to answer that. So can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, all right, so I guess we're going to stay in screen share. So my role in the program is that I oversee the music industry program, both in terms of the on-campus program and the online program, which is really there's a real message in there as well to realize that, and it's not the same, you know, at every university out there, or even necessarily at every school, but our online programs, particularly music industry and live entertainment management, are the same in the online space as they are in the on-campus space in terms of classes, faculty, that sort of thing. We'll probably talk more about that in a minute, but I oversee both programs, which means, looking at our curriculum, making sure that our courses are the right kinds of things we need to be teaching our students at the moment, right? That we're making sure we're addressing the industry of today and tomorrow. I also teach 2 courses within the program. I teach the music contracts course, and I teach the class about how the record business or recorded music, how that works as well.
Wonderful, thank you. And for Ray, same question for you. Tell us a bit about your role within the University of Miami and how you interact with the online program.
Okay, so yeah, on campus I wear a number of hats. I have my dean role and also the chair role. But really in the online space, even though as a chair, I guess I am over both the music industry and the live entertainment management program because they live in my department. Really, from a functional perspective, I'm a professor in the program. And the interaction that the students will have with me is in that context. I teach the music copyright law class and also music entrepreneurship. And so that's my primary role. And again, just to emphasize what Sarona said, we teach pretty much the same way on campus as we do online. In fact, in my situation, I use the exact same assets, the same courses on Blackboard with my on-campus class as I do online. The only difference is we're meeting in the room instead of on Zoom when we have our conversations every week. So, that's it.
Great, thank you. I'd like to move on a little bit to the curriculum. I'm going to start with Sarona on this one as the director for the music industry program. How is the curriculum for the online degree designed, and how is it different from other music business programs? What are some of the key skills and learnings that the program focuses on?
Got it. So, the way the program overall is designed is, we really look at the core parts of the industry and have classes that address those particular segments of the industry. And the classes and their names are intentionally broad so that we can, focus more specifically in updating what we actually teach in a particular course for a particular semester. So for example, we have a course called Music Publishing, which is, one of the critical segments of the industry. And, we intentionally have a class called Music Publishing and not called something like streaming, because music publishing, that discipline, we're in a very exciting, dynamic field where there are things that are changing in the music publishing world all the time, but there are some things that stay the same. And so rather than spin up new classes all the time and, say music publishing and TikTok as a class title, which then has to go through, a zillion committees at a university to get approved, it's much easier to just have your class called Music Publishing, and then within that class, on the syllabus, in the reading, in the videos, in the discussions, start talking about there's this new thing called TikTok. What does that mean? And how does that work with music publishing, right? So when you look at our class titles, they are broad on purpose. And what we do is for any given semester, the materials that are touched upon are connected to what's actually happening in that sector of the industry at the moment. And so also from a curricular design perspective, students pretty early on take a music copyright class. It's so important in terms of understanding how the music business works to understand music copyright. It kind of runs through just about everything else that happens in the industry. And so, students start off with that class. They have a whole class focused on music publishing, another one focused on the record business. And we've got a variety of other classes that will focus specifically on marketing and licensing, sort of other segments within the industry. And so we've kind of put together this broader curriculum to make sure that our students are getting a really well-rounded education you know, some programs out there, often they tend to reflect the makeup of their faculty. So you might find a program where all of their faculty comes from a marketing background. And lo and behold, pretty much all the classes are some version of marketing. Well, what we're really pleased with is the particular faculty team we put together. We each have our own backgrounds in the industry, right? I come from the record side of the house and contract side of things. Professor Sanchez comes, you know, a lot from the music copyright perspective, publishing, the live side of the industry. Professor John Redmond's a music publishing expert. Professor Guillermo Page is a music marketing expert. So we really kind of have this great faculty that together between them cover the whole kind of breadth of the industry. And that's really how we designed our curriculum as well, to really be balanced. Because, you know, here's the truth. You might end up assuming a number of different roles and jobs in the industry over the course of your career, right? You might start off in one segment of the industry and then flip over and go work in another one. And if you are not exposed to how all those sectors work, you're just not getting the most, you know, meaningful career preparation you can get. It's also the case that you'll do a much better job, for example, working at a record company, if you understand music publishing. You'll go further and you'll just be way more effective in your role if you understand how the whole ecosystem works. So those are the things we've considered when we built out the curriculum.
Great, thank you. Ray, a question for you. What would you say are the qualities or habits of successful students in the online program? And how does the curriculum help students stay on track with their learning?
Right. So that's a good question on probably two parts of the answer. First part is the same as any student on campus, you know, determination, grit, stick with it, you know, determined to succeed, you know, no matter what, and putting in the work. I mean, that's all basic stuff. But the other side is that we did build the curriculum with the idea of working people in mind, working professionals, and people that were not traditional students that could not invest the time to come on campus, you know, for 8-9 months of the year, you know, and make that type of thing, that type of commitment. So consequently, even though it's exactly the same curriculum on campus as online, the online courses are more condensed. So as some of you may know, we're in 7-week sessions as opposed to 15-week typical semester on campus. But on campus, you're doing all kinds of other things in between. Here, you're just really focused on one, maybe 2 classes. I don't think anyone takes more than 2 classes at any one time. So, and the other thing that's very important is the courses are asynchronous. And even though we do offer face-to-face time pretty much every week in many, if not most of the courses, I certainly do in mine, it's not required attendance. I encourage everyone to attend, but we record the sessions and people can look at them afterwards. But the truth is, during the week, that session, you can work at your own pace. Now, there is a deadline. You have to be done by the end of the week for whatever's happening inside that week. But that builds in, you know, more flexibility. So one is going to make a commitment to something like this. You know, at least you know you don't have to be somewhere at 3:30 on Wednesday. You know, you have the flexibility. If you're a night owl or you're an early morning person or whatever, you can do that.
Great, thank you. Serona, back to you. How does the Frost School of Music stature in the music community enrich the opportunities and job prospects available to students in the program?
So we've been around a long time. Our program was started in the 60s, the 1960s, if you can believe that. And so, you know, over time, that means we've had a lot of alumni that, you know, come through the program and end up out there in the industry and work at all kinds of different levels in the industry and in all the different segments of the industry. And ultimately, the reputation of a program really hinges on what their alumni are doing after they graduate, right? And so because we've been around so long, and we've been so fortunate, I obviously wasn't part of the program in the 60s. I wasn't born yet. But I actually did this program, by the way. I did my master's in this program back when there was no online degree. It was only in person. This program has had such amazing faculty associated with it right from the very beginning. And so those faculty bring their knowledge to the classroom, right? They impart that to the students. And then when those students turn into alumni and they go out there and they're in jobs and they're, really doing an amazing job, everybody pays attention and says like, wow, where did you learn all that? Right. And then that's how a program builds a reputation, is when people watch their alumni in action. And so we have a lot of alumni out there, and our alumni, are rocking it. I have to say, my favorite part about doing these information sessions is I get to see these alumni who I don't usually get to see. And they're joined by a large population of alumni, both, statistically majority in our on-campus program, but plenty more in our online programs as well, all of whom are considered alumni of the same program, right? When someone says to you, where did you go to school? You say, Frost School of Music. You don't say Frost School of Music Online. You just say Frost School of Music, University of Miami, period, full stop, right? It is the same in that sense. You just happen to take your coursework in an online format. And so it doesn't need a separate reputation or a new reputation. It's instantly plugged into the long-standing reputation that already exists. I will say, however, that in this discipline, like almost every discipline nowadays, the name of the degree alone does not get you a job. You have to understand that. You don't, like, let's say if Sony Music is hiring and you send in a resume and they go, Frost School of Music, they're going to put you in the pile that says, okay, so this person has an amazing foundation of knowledge, but then they're going to assess you based on everything else, to decide if you're going to move to the interview stage. Long gone are the days when simply having gone through a particular program equals a guaranteed job somewhere. That's just not the case. It's really not the case in almost any discipline I can think of, right? I'm sure some Harvard lawyer will definitely get a job at a law firm that only ever hires Harvard lawyers or something. But that's not this field. It is highly competitive. But what it says is, if you come out of this program with this degree on your resume, it says, I am part of this community of Frost Music Industry alumni, this really rich community of people. I have gotten an amazingly broad and strong foundation of knowledge, and proven that I can get through a rigorous program and stick with it and come out the other end of it. And all those things are going to work very much in your favor. It's so common that there'll be other people working at that company where you might be applying that are also Frost alumni, right? Even some of the people in HR doing their first look at resumes are Frost alumni. So it can work in your favor in all kinds of ways. But I don't want to oversell it, make it sound like instantly you're going to get a job just because of that. But it's the knowledge and being part of that community and being able to reach out. We have a LinkedIn alumni group, and our alumni love hearing from, current students or students that have just graduated. And, here's your opening sentence. Hi, Rachel. My name is Sarona, and I just finished the Masters in Music Industry program. I see you did as well. Would love to talk to you about what it's like to work at Spotify, where you're currently working. Can we set up time for a virtual phone call, right? There's your intro. And people are very happy to respond and be like, hey, fellow UN, woohoo, throw up the U. Heck yeah, I'll get on the phone with you, right? So that's how you tap into this.
Great, thank you. Ray, what are some of the different paths that you've seen graduates embark upon when they complete this degree?
Well, that's how big is this industry? It's interesting because I do have a little bit of a longer view. I'm, probably the oldest person in this call, so I've seen alums from in every corner. I myself am an alum of the School of Music. It wasn't called Frost then, but that network is deep and wide. And what's interesting is that what you study may not be exactly where you end up. So, for example, in my case, my degree is in studio writing and production, but my first job in the industry was actually in music publishing. I worked for, at that time, the largest print music publisher in the world. It's called Columbia Pictures Publications. That was, quite honestly, whatever music business classes I had taken at school that I had at that time sort of forgotten. A lot of things, all of a sudden, this was my crash course, because print is this tiny little corner of the business, but it hasn't gone away. It will not go away, probably. But it's very interesting because that's actually where the intersection of a lot of different areas. And so it was basically a crash course in licensing, because every aspect of everything had to be licensed, and I understood that very well from the beginning. And yet I wanted to be a producer, and I wanted to play music. And so after a year of working there and seeing what was going on, I actually went freelance on purpose. I went to my boss, said, I can do everything I'm doing from home in my pajamas. And so we drew up a contract, and I worked with them freelance for 5 years, bankrolled starting a production company, which was my career. In fact, I still have my company, but it was my sole living until I started teaching when I was finally in my 40s. It was a kind of a crooked path. Oh, and then of course, in business and in the industry, then I'm on the other side of the table now, because I'm working for artists and I'm dealing with A&Rs and dealing with publishing people and everything else. And there you get to wear a lot of different hats. So if we look at the business, I'll get back to the actual question. Understanding how the pieces fit together is critical. This is one of the things that we pride ourselves on in this program, because even though we're all from different corners, I mean, I never met people like Sirona. They were in the back somewhere, hopefully getting it right so that my check would be right. But I did meet, all the creatives, and every once in a while I would meet a marketing person, but presidents and things like that, and from my role. But everyone in this program has a very keen understanding of how the pieces fit together. And that's critical, because very likely you're going to start one place and migrate through and do others. We even have folks in one of our alums here on this call, that is gone into academia, which is pretty rare in our world. In other disciplines, a lot of folks go into academia, but here we are, myself, Sirona, others in the program that ended up in academia as well. So we'd like to say that we prepare you to understand and hopefully find your role, but you're going to follow your passion and your skills and your lifestyle. I was a touring musician for quite a while, and that was really one of the main reasons I'm in this position today, because I had to make a choice. Ray
always said, like, if you strapped him to a desk chair in an office all day long, like he would want to like poke his eyeballs out.
Yep.
Whereas I'm like 9 to 5 in front of a computer. I love it. Right. So, different strokes for different folks. Right.
Yep.
There really are different strokes for different folks.
Yep. That's right. So I hope that sort of answers it and puts it in perspective, because I see on this call also a lot of you starting your own thing, and boy, that resonates with me because I still have my company. Hey, I just met with my accountant yesterday to do my 1120S. So anyway.
Great. Well, thank you both so much for answering these questions. I want to move on to our alumni now, because we are excited to hear about your experience in the program and what brought you to the program. So why did you choose the University of Miami and the Frost School of Music for your online graduate program? What set this program apart from others that you may have considered at the time?
So one of the things for me, when it comes to the music industry, being someone that interned pretty young. I started interning pretty young, and pretty young to the point that I was finishing high school, and I was I was in rooms where after we got done with work and as an intern, I couldn't go to certain places, couldn't go to events and parties, because I wasn't old enough to get in. So I found myself just wanting to have a more well-rounded view of the music business, and I wanted to. There were a number of programs out there, but there wasn't. When I spoke to the enrollment advisor, I just think there was something so different about this program. There was talk about everything that I was dealing with as an intern, everything that I was dealing with as a freshly minted audio engineer, and it was the classes such as music industry contracts or recording agreements and music copyright law that I felt like would allow me to be. This is the term I use. I say future proof, because if you know certain things, if you have the information, if you have the tools, when you know better, you do better. And then you can pass on that information to people who may not necessarily have that information when they come through the studio that I worked at when starting out. But because I was in this program, I was able to tell them or just give little anecdotes to say, hey, you might not want to do this, or you might want to go in a different direction, because this right here may not be the best outcome, or might not be the outcome you want. So speaking to the enrollment advisor, it just gave me a quick view that if I go through this program, I would, years later, I would thank myself for signing up and actually going through the sometimes rigorous but very rewarding curriculum. So it was just after speaking to the enrollment advisor, it was a no-brainer for me. Even as I was going through my my workload, the courses just resonated with everything I was doing, and allowed me to step my game up professionally and just enjoy everything academically as well. So.
Great, thank you. Vincent, I want to give you the same question. Why did you choose this program and the University of Miami?
How you doing? One of the main reasons I chose it, being an independent artist at the time. I also am a teacher. I'm a teacher as well. So at the same time, I was teaching and I'm an artist at the same time. So I wanted to make sure that as I just grew in my career as a teacher as well, I knew what I was talking about because I was teaching songwriting classes. So I felt like this reinforced things that I thought I knew, because when you're an independent artist, you can think you know everything until you run into that bump in the road. So when I started looking for a course like this at Frost, I searched, I Googled, and I read, and what really pulled me in was that I felt connection. And what I mean by that is when I saw one course, I felt like, okay, yes, I ran into that before. Then I saw another course. I said, oh, yep, that happens in the industry. Oh, that they got that in there too. And then to kind of solidify it too is once I started having experiences while going to the school as well. So I'm online going to the school, but I'm still an independent artist, and I'm doing TV placements, which is talked about during the class. Sampling is talked about during the class. If I'm doing work for hire contracts, I can actually look at what I got and what I've learned. So the fact that I can apply in real time while I'm going to the school, it was very satisfying, and it made me very comfortable. But the fact that you're able to really connect to what you're learning and apply it in real life is really what solidified me going there.
Awesome, thank you. Andrea, how about you? Why did you choose this program and the Frost School of Music?
Well, thanks for asking. It's a great question. Like everyone else, I think I did a lot of research. A reputation was very important to me. And when I looked at all of the programs out there, considering I already had a background being that my mom was working for one of the top law firms, I grew up with her telling me about entertainment law. I knew that I had to find a school that would match her passion and her commitment to the industry. And I wanted to be taken seriously. As a person with a disability, I had a car accident on my way to work one day, and I needed to find a program that didn't just say that they were accessible, but really were accessible. So I found this program to be, when I spoke to the admission team, I found that I asked certain questions about accessibility, and I was like stunned, like this wasn't just performative, this is something that they really wanted to see everyone be able to take advantage of. And so that blew me away. So you've got reputation, you've got professionalism, you've got a school that understands my needs as a disabled music or a creative professional. Now you've got these courses. I'm looking at some of these courses and the programs, and I'm just blown away that it's exactly what I needed. At one point in time, I thought about getting a JD and then specializing in entertainment. So I said, you know what? If I do that, I'll have this background. So I was really impressed with everything. And then you look at the faculty, and these are people who are actually right now living and breathing in the industry, making a difference, making impact. And that really spoke to me. And I'm so happy. What differentiated it from other programs was, again, the reputation and the commitment to excellence, and the programs the classes were really well thought out, and going into music publishing and copyright. And also you want to look for programs where you can change your mind one day. So you do want a well-rounded program that will speak to, whatever you decide to do if you do change your mind.
Great, thank you. And Miguel, how about you? What made you choose the Frost School of Music?
Hello, thank you for the invitation. For me, I think that one of the most appealing aspects of the program was the specific way the curriculum was designed. So I feel that it is not just like a general business graduate course or program that was adapted, but I think it was created from the beginning with the purpose of specifically providing students with tools that were based on theory, but also based on experiences, on the experience of the professors. So I felt that I was trying to adapt their skills and their experience to my professional profile. And so in that way, I could make better decisions, more informed decisions regarding my career. So that's the first aspect. And the second aspect, or the second reason, that was flexibility, which was essential for me because at that time I had just accepted a new job as faculty. I'm also teaching faculty at two Peruvian universities actually. So I was starting my academic career, and I just couldn't travel to Miami or to any place to do the program on campus. So just having the option to do it online was really important for me. And also the flexibility, because the schedule was, we kind of could just build our own schedule. We also, of course, had deadlines, but I had to organize my time and my availability to just do all the readings and the assignments and stuff. And that was great for me, because I think that if I didn't have that, then it wouldn't have been possible for me. So I think those two aspects were very important, but also prestige and also reputation. The University of Miami is, of course, a really prestigious institution. And as Professor Elton said, it has a long history regarding music business and the music industry from an academic perspective. So I think those three factors were the most important for me, for helping me to make the decision of choosing this program.
Great, thank you. I'm going to move on to another question now for Vincent. Can you tell us a bit about your career path since you graduated from the program, and how has the degree helped you have a leg up on job prospects or just your current career?
Okay, so when I started, I'm a middle school teacher, and when I started there, I was teaching reading. My school ended up getting a grant for a couple $1 million, and so they were like, "We know what you do, so you're not going to teach reading no more." All right. So they knew that I did music, so they actually they trusted me with designing the entire curriculum, and that was also having the comfort of knowing I had the degree from Frost. The district trusted me with spending the money on what items were needed for the classroom, any products that were needed. So I was able to design my room, and my room is worth upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars in my classroom. And I don't think they would have had that confidence in me to design a whole curriculum. So I actually designed the film production, the TV production, and music production, and they all fall in line because music is needed, contracts, there's so much interwoven into each other. So that's what the course has helped me to help solidify the fact that I have that degree and people are able to talk to me and I can mention that degree. It gives people that, okay, all right, I can trust what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. So one of the main things about having that degree overall is confidence. I think having that degree from Frost, it helps me feel confident in any question. You could ask me anything, and me having that, I feel confident in talking about any subject, any topic. So, so that's pretty much one of the things that I've done then. And then, like I said, I applied in real life with TV submissions and TV placements since then, and things like that. So, like Power. Also Netflix, Peabody and Sherman cartoon. I'm on there as myself. So I have a record coming out next week on my record label through one of the top independent companies, Fat Beats Distribution. And I wouldn't feel comfort with reading and knowing my things without going to this course. I feel way more comfortable if they send me paperwork for something. I know what to ask for. I know about making sure the splits are correct. I know about the publishing. I know about everything. So the comfort and the confidence are very key. And those are some of the things I've done since then.
Great, thank you. Andrea, the same question for you. Can you tell us a bit about your career path since graduating from the program?
Sure, thank you. Very similar to what I still call her Professor Elton. But what Serena said, I mean, you do have to know what you want, have clear goals. It's not just the degree, but I will say this, like Vincent said, it really helped other people understand how serious and committed I was, that I could go through, such a rigorous program, and they entrust me with a lot. In order to go through any type of program where you're specializing, they know you're committed. So for instance, very similar to Vincent, I was a guest lecturer at a university, and the next thing I knew, they knew that I was graduating. They asked me to create a curriculum for their PT students, physical therapy students, and for the clients. I had been telling them how music should be a part of the program. They thought it would be distracting, but then now, armed with a degree, they thought, she may know what she's talking about, you know? So I was able to design a curriculum, and oftentimes I do guest lecture, and I show the physical therapy students, kinesiology students as well, how to implement certain teachings in physical therapy. And they found out that done correctly, it actually enhances the goals of the clients. I also have been asked to be on a lot of scholarship panels, because they understand, okay, well then she knows, what we're looking for. Film curator, a lot of consulting positions throughout from my production company. And I just co-founded an organization called RAMP, which stands for Recording Artists and Music Professionals with Disabilities. And again, with people with disabilities, we do not want people to feel sorry for us. We're professionals, we're creative professionals. And so we selected a lot of music professionals with disabilities, and they have their degrees, they have done the work. And so we have a coalition to fight for better rights. And so again, within this organization, when people see that I have a degree, that, that kind of vets me. They're just like, wow, she's done the work. Leadership. I am the chair of the City of Pasadena's Accessibility and Disability Commission, and even parlaying the fact that in this role, I'm advisory, mostly advisory, and I advise to council, but that's a huge leadership role. And again, when somebody tries to vet me, and they can say, okay, well, she's done the work, but I advocate for arts in my city, for people with disabilities. Again, not just to vet, not just to say, okay, but I literally feel confident, as Vincent said, I feel like I know what I'm doing. And I really feel like the foundation was really laid for me at the university. So recently I was talking to someone about being the CEO of their company, and they didn't hesitate. They were just like, you know what? We need someone like you, because even though we have a team, but your degree speaks really a lot to people who are looking to fund us. So there's so many things that has really helped me in my career path.
That's great to hear. Thank you. I'm going to move on to a different question. And Gerald, this is for you. So how did you receive support from the Frost School and UM during your time in the program and since you've graduated from the program?
So I think one of the easiest ways to answer that is just matter of fact, at graduation, I always talk about this because one of my fellow Kane alums, his name is Alex, and he runs the label in Miami called Carbon Fiber Music. And Alex, I didn't know Alex when I at graduate. I didn't know him when I got to graduation, but it was Miami is such a cool place. Like the school and campus is such a cool campus, and everyone on campus is like, you can click with anybody right away. But the way that I was able to connect with Alex really it's such a miracle type thing, because you don't really know who you're meeting when you meet people for the first time. But for Alex to be an on-campus student and graduate of the program, like Sarona said, everything is interchangeable, whether it's online or on campus. It's interchangeable, and so you know what one person has been through. You know what someone who's on campus has been through, what someone online has been through, and you can interchange information. You can talk to each other, and it gets to the point where they know you came out of this program, whether it's online or on campus. I know I can depend on this alum because they know what they're talking about, because you know what they've been through. You know what it took to graduate from this program. And having that network of people, having the network of fellow alums, no matter what year they graduated, if they made it through this program, you can ask a question and they will more than likely have an answer that will help you. You know that if they have a way in or an opportunity to pass your name on somewhere to say, hey, I have someone that can do this. Me and Alex have been able to say, hey, I can do this, or you can do that. And we've been able to help each other out professionally with music industry stuff. And that right there, which I feel like was instilled, of course, by Ray and Sarona in many of their classes, many of their after-hour talks, many of their long after-hour emails of frustration and trying to help us, just calm down when you're trying to get an assignment done, or when you're trying to make the post on time, and things like that. It lets you know you have that network to fall back on, and it's not fall back on as if you're depending on everyone or the students to do the work for you, but you understand that you're not alone. I feel like it's with Miami, it's just been literally, if you run into a wall here, ask somebody who's been through the program, Ask somebody who's been through the program on campus, online, or ask one of your professors, ask one of your former professors, ask them a question. You literally have support, no matter how long it's been since you graduated, you have support. So that's how it's helped me.
Great, thank you. Miguel, I want to ask the same question to you. And how did you receive support from the Frost School during your program and even afterwards?
So, so first, I also need to talk about my instructors. So in this regard, I think that a solid, theoretical or academic foundation is essential for any program. But in the case of the music industry, well, I've said this before, but it is not only about the knowledge itself. I think it also has to do a lot with the practice, with the actual the real world, where you need to deal with artists and their specific problems, their uncertainties. And I feel that just reading about the music industry and music publishing and the legal aspects of the music industry in some book is not enough. So for me, their experience was really important. And I think that by acquiring a part of that experience, I was also increasing my chances of success, because Professor Elton and Professor Sanchez are really successful professionals within the music industry. So that was really, like I said, that was essential. And it was even more interesting for me that Professor Sanchez had experience within the Latin American music industry. He worked with Chayanne, who is a really well-known artist in Peru. So that was for me especially interesting, because I am not working within the US music industry, but within the Peruvian music industry, which is obviously part of the Latin American music industry. It's a different market. It's a market that is thriving, especially regarding digital platforms and streaming, and we all know that. But so having that familiar component within the program was really attractive. And I'm glad that I'm still in touch with both Professor Sanchez and Professor Elton. They have been really supportive, not only during the program, but also after I graduated. So I'm really thankful for that. And well, another specific aspect has to do with something more practical, which are all the reading and study materials we had available on Blackboard, which were really helpful, especially the audiovisual component of the materials was very well. It was really well produced. It was sufficiently not too long or too short. It just provided the right amount of information you need, and that was really helpful. And besides that, you also had you had a lot of reading material that you could also use to enrich your learning. So that was, I think, one differential point of the program also. But yeah, I think those were the two most important things I could highlight.
Great, thank you. And at this time, I just want to thank our alumni for being here. We really appreciate it. It's been great to hear from all of you. If anyone out there has additional questions or wants to connect with any of our alumni, please reach out to us. We're happy to do that. And you can, even have a one-on-one conversation with them about the program. But I just also want to mention, we have our Master of Arts in Music Industry, but we also have 4 graduate certificates that are 9 credits each. And these are great if you just want a taste of the program, because they can transfer right into the degree program if you decide to do that at a later time. And these certificates are Music Business Fundamentals, Music Rights Administration and Licensing, Legal Aspects of the Music Business, and Music Entrepreneurship. So feel free to check those out as well. But at this time, I want to pass things back to Liz, who's going to close out the program. Thank you.
Perfect. And again, I just want to echo Rachel and again, thank all of you so much for taking the time to speak to our current prospective students that are just navigating through whether or not this is going to be the best fit for them. And of course, we would love for them to be able to join you in class starting this fall. So on that note, if I can get there we go. So on that note, our early admissions deadline is coming up. It's less than 2 weeks away, Monday, July 11th. So big thing with this is, one, to aid in that intentionality of the classrooms, we do keep our classes very small. So just like these students know their faculty, the faculty know them, they're able to assist with those networking opportunities, just engagement in the classroom. We don't want you to feel like you're a number in a classroom. You're very much a person with our UOnline classes, but we're only able to do that because we're intentional with keeping those classes small. So it's going to be critical that you apply early. And so go ahead, meet that early admissions deadline, get everything done with the registration, and enjoy the rest of your summer to give you plenty of time for classes to start on Monday, September 5th. As an incentive for joining us today, we are going to be offering you a $300 deposit waiver code. Contact your enrollment advisor about that, but we'll be able to help you get that locked in. Again, make sure you get your applications in. It's free to apply. So there's nothing stopping you from moving forward. And I know we covered a lot of content today, but we also understand this is such a big decision. So if you have additional questions, reach out to an enrollment advisor or like myself, or excuse me, like Rachel said, if you want to get connected with an alumni, let us know and we can certainly see what we can do to make that happen. But again, appreciate you all for joining us. Rachel, panelists, thank you so much for your time, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their evening.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great seeing everybody, by the way.
It was great seeing you.
Yes, indeed.
Happy summer.
And Sarona,